All right, folks, I'm going to do a quick video. I wanted to kind of throw some stuff at you from folks that are not what you might consider religious authorities. Just for you to consider them as a source of information as part of the aggregation. All right? So, I'm just going to read through them, then we can talk about them. First one comes from Shakespeare. God has given you one face, but people always make another. Oh, man. That's so true. It's sick. And not just maybe another, but so many. I always kind of think of them as masks that people wear, and they have a different mask for different situations or for different people that they interact with. And so they put on a face rather than just be themselves. Next one is from Garth Brooks. And this line is from one of his songs. Some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. It's from a song I really like, by the way. Next one is by William Penn. Men must control themselves under God's will, or they will be ruled by the will of tyrants. Yeah. Yikes. Yeah. So if you can't control yourselves, somebody eventually is going to come along and control you. Truth in that. Next one, Lawrence Welk. A lot of folks watching this probably don't even know who Lawrence Welk is. He used to have this, I don't know what it was. It was a TV show, kind of a variety show in the way, way, way back machine back in the 60s. He said, you gotta love people, but put your trust in God. It's pretty good. How about Frederick Douglass? And if you don't know who Frederick Douglass is, then don't consider yourself educated. And he said, you and God constitute a majority. Think about that. I love this one. You and God constitute a majority. That means whatever you come up with as your methodology in order to grow closer to God, your aggregation of knowledge is between you and God. And there's nobody that can tell you that your way is wrong as long as you're not hurting other people through your methodology. All right? And if it brings you closer to God, you and God, you're a majority. How about this guy? Science fiction writer, Arthur C. Clarke. Until we get rid of religion, we won't be able to conduct the search for God. Pretty good, huh? I like that one. Now here's a couple by Elon Musk. And you guys know that I think Elon's great. And that I agree with his desire to have the human race be a multi-planet species as quickly as possible. I think that is a very noble endeavor and a very practical use of his vast fortune. And people are always asking him, Elon, do you believe in God? I always love the look on his face when people ask him that. And, you know, he tries to be nice to them. He doesn't want to turn them down. But you know that Elon has his own belief system. He and God are a majority. All right? Guaranteed. Anyway, Elon says, I believe that we are most likely in a simulation, and it would follow that there must be an entity which created it. All right? Remember the other things that we've talked about before about how we exist in a dream that God is having? Elon is saying the same thing here. All right? Except for, he's from a more scientific perspective. And if you think of the cosmos as either something in the mind of God, the thought of God, well, a simulation is the same thing. But somebody had to create it. So, number 2. I love this one too. If God cannot be explained by the science he created, then there is no God. But then, we wouldn't exist either, would we? Isn't that great? he wraps you around, gets you thinking, and he's like, boom. He kind of takes you there. If God can't be explained by the science he created, then there is no God. But then we wouldn't exist either, would we? I love that. All right. Now here's another philosopher. You've probably heard of Seneca, the elder, Seneca, the younger. This is Seneca, the elder. The soul is a piece of the energy of God, which has found refuge in the flesh. And we've talked about that before, about how you are literally an energetic offspring of the Creator. Here's one of my favorite passages from the Bible. It's from Matthew 6:4. And I think of this one over and over, and it really hits home. When I think about all of the churches and the synagogues and the mosques and the temples, and on and on and on and on and on, and these supposedly pious people that are in there espousing their faith and whatever. Matthew says, or of course, probably one of the scribes that followed Matthew around, or one of the disciples of his disciples of his disciples who wrote it down a couple hundred years later. So, take it for that, what it is worth. And he says that, of course, Christ said, when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray, standing in the synagogues and on the street corners, to be seen by men. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. Man, does that not slap most organized religious belief systems in the face. It's followed by another one which I didn't write down, but it's followed by, when you pray, go into an interior room and maybe even the closet of that room when you pray to the Father. Because the things that you pray to Him in secret will be given in secret. All right? Which means that if you're out there praying somewhere, you ain't going to get nothing. All right? And God doesn't want to hear that. It doesn't draw close to God. It's only when you are by yourself and you approach God with humility that it means anything. All right? Here's one actor, Richard Burton. He says, "The more I study the world's religions, the more I am convinced that man never worshipped anything but himself." Yeah. And you see it. You see it in these organized religions where it's so often all about those people that are standing up there putting themselves as an intercessor between you and God. And what they think and what they interpret as what they think God wants you to know. And how God wants you to know it. Here's another one that I really like. And this is anonymous. It says, "Doubt is the basis of faith." Remember what Dostoevsky said? That it takes a furnace to burn away all of the stuff before he could reach any sort of belief. This is the same thing. All right? Doubt is the basis of faith. Then I'll throw another Voltaire at you. "I have never made but one prayer to God," a very short one. "O God, make my enemies ridiculous." And God granted it. Isn't that great? It's almost too perfect, right? Anyway, I just wanted to share those with you. All right, friends, please like, share, and subscribe. And comment down below. Let's have a chat. I will talk to you later. Bye.